On your Monday episode of Locked On Raptors, these Toronto Raptors sure do look like a resilient bunch, don't they?
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Monday, January the 12th, and I'm your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Raptors now for 12 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram. You can join us in the Locked On Raptors Discord server. Link in the description of the podcast. 100% free to join, as always. Great little place we got talking about ball amongst friends. Be part of our listener community, would you? It's a great time. Come hang out. And we're off and running here on your Monday edition of the show, talking about a Toronto Raptors 116-115 absolutely bonkers overtime win over the Philadelphia 76ers. Both teams shorthanded. No PG or Embiid on the Sixers side. No Barrett, no Ingram, no Poeltl, and also no Jakob Poeltl after about 4 minutes in this game for the Toronto Raptors. And yet the Raptors pull this one out, trailed by 4 with like 20 seconds left. You get an Immanuel Quickley foot on the line, 2, a turnover forced by Alijah Martin, a Collin Murray-Boyles drive and dump off to Jamal Shead to tie the game. It sends it to OT. Scottie Barnes wins it with a heads-up play and the forced missed free throw at the end of the game to keep the Sixers from getting a chance to score with less than a second on the clock. Holy boats, lots of stuff in this game, and here to talk about all the stuff is a man who was there last night. It's Vivek Jacob, Big V from Raptors in 7. My friend, how are you? That was a wild one that started off as just kind of like this sad, dreary affair where the fans did not seem into it whatsoever, and yet it turned into an absolute barn burner. Overall impressions of wildly entertaining and yet totally terrible, if you're just going on like the objective merits of it, basketball game.
Yeah, I mean, just wild to finish. And then I think back to the start of the game when, as you correctly pointed out, it seemed dead in the arena. No one could make a shot. Both teams combined to shoot 30% in the first quarter. And the Raptors had a bunch of these plays where it was like, it was a combination of playing like hot potato, but then also like no one could actually like hold on to the ball when they were trying to make something happen. And there's just a bunch of like plays for loose balls. And then you look at the way things played out at the end. Just a wild game.
Don't leave the arena early, you fools. It's not worth making the early train or beating traffic. You're still going to run into traffic, I promise you. Anyway, we will also on today's show, Big V, just to kind of set the table for everybody, we will get to the Immanuel Quickley of it all, as well as he had himself, to put it mildly, a bit of a roller coaster game with far more downs than ups, I would say. Though there were a couple of ups. We'll talk about those. We'll get to the good, the bad, and the as well coming up later. But yeah, let's get into a little more of the sort of resilient identity this team seems to be putting together here, V. They, this is the stuff, one of the hallmarks of good teams. There are lots of hallmarks of good teams, right? Beating the teams you're supposed to beat, having a solid record against teams above 500, all of that. But one of the other ones is finding ways to win when you don't have all of your guys available. And this has not been a thing the Raptors have been capable of for years, right? You think back to the end of the Nick Nurse era. If any one of OG or Pascal or Fred or Scottie was out of the lineup, they were dead to rights. They had no ability to scrape together a deep enough rotation to win basketball games. The last couple of years, you miss Jakob Poeltl, just Jakob Poeltl, and the team completely falls into disrepair. That has not been the case this season, and we've yet to see them have to play without Ingram or Barnes for most of the season. They've been healthy up until this past week, which is great. But to see them come out in a game like this, no Barrett after getting an ankle injury on Friday against the Celtics, he's day-to-day. No Ingram, also seeming like he's deep day-to-day, should be back soon. No Poeltl, who the hell knows what's going on there with the back stuff. In this game against the Sixers team that, yes, also was shorthanded, I just found it so impressive that they just kept finding guys. And eventually they were down to like literally 4 or 5 guys they could trust, and they still found a way to scrape it over. This is just what teams that have a lot of solid players do. This is what good teams do. And I think it's an extremely encouraging weekend, even encompassing the Celtics loss on Friday, as far as what this team can do in the second half of the season, knowing that, hey, Injuries are going to happen. Guys will cycle in and out of the lineup, but they are putting down some tape to suggest that they can, in fact, survive when their best players are not there. And in fact, sometimes even win when they're not supposed to. Really impressive stuff top to bottom, I thought, in this one from the Raptors, who, by all rights, just did not have any right to win this game in the final closing minutes.
Yeah, when you look at the resilience of this team, I remember, a couple weeks ago, Jamal Shead was talking about how, maybe there's been games in the past where they've kind of let go of the rope.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that they've needed to learn from. And then, the games that come to mind are probably, that loss to the Nets where they fall apart in the fourth quarter, the loss to the Wizards, where no one seemed to bring any kind of energy and intensity. And so to move on from that and then have the games that they've had of late, to show the fight that they did against the Celtics, I thought that was really important. And especially, you look at, midway through that third quarter when it looks like the Celtics are pulling away,
Mm-hmm.
you could have easily seen that ending in like a 30-point drubbing.
Totally.
And
It would have been totally fine and understandable, right?
and they didn't let up, and they said, no, this is not going to happen again. And so to me, that was important growth. And I think that kind of builds into what we saw last night. And I thought that, the Raptors were in position to take control, but just could not make shots and just couldn't do enough things for it to just like completely be in their control. And then Philly would take the lead and like Maxey would do his thing and they'd kind of hang around and hang around. And then, they had to kind of play desperation ball a little bit down the stretch because things went, I thought there was an opportunity for them to take control. They didn't. And then Maxey hits that big shot and now you're stuck 4 with about 15 seconds left. And you've got to make some magic happen, and then some magic happens, and then you go on and take it in overtime. And yeah, I think it's important for this team to just have that toughness about it. And I go back to those 4 guys on this night: Scottie, CMB, Jamal Shead, and Alijah Martin. Just really, really, 10 out of 10 in the dog category.
No doubt about it. Like I think, Murray-Boyles and Shead in particular, Martin a little bit obviously kind of emerging this weekend, but those 2 dudes, Murray-Boyles and Shead, already feel so like integral to the makeup of this team and the sort of way this team carries itself. And like I'm just so blown away with Collin Murray-Boyles, man. 17, 15, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. The stock pot very much at full boil in this game. We love it. Like, he's just, as far as rookies go, man, I'm having a hard time thinking. I mean, obviously, Scottie Barnes won Rookie of the Year. Vince Carter won Rookie of the Year. They've had Rookies of the Year in the past. But as impressive, as at home as a Raptors rookie has ever looked on the floor playing serious basketball games, and I don't know how you can't be just like, letting your imagination run wild with what Collin Murray-Boyles might be able to grow into over time based on what he's put down over the last couple of weeks here when they've desperately needed him to just be that stopgap with no Jakob Poeltl. He's been unbelievable. And then Shead, I mean, the 22 points, the 6 assists, the paint touches, the battling through a messed up thumb, like that dude just exudes, I'm not going to lose this basketball game at all times, and really impressive stuff. We'll talk about Alijah Martin a little bit later too, but I do want to take 1 second to just throw some flowers Scottie Barnes' way. You like to focus on the sort of underdog dudes who got it done in this one, but Scottie Barnes, in a game where they just badly needed their best player to be their best player, totally brought it. A little quiet in the third quarter when the team lost 36-18. Maybe not a coincidence, but 31 points, 7 boards, 8 assists, and just like a commanding game from Scottie Barnes. Whenever he was like, okay, I'm going to dust one of these poor Sixers who cannot guard me in space, I'm going to go score now. He just like did it. It was impressive. It was powerful. And then, of course, he had arguably the best dunk of his career late in this game, driving in from the left corner. And that means it's time for a round of What Sound Did You Make with Big V? Big V, what sound did you make when Scottie Barnes yammed that Statue of Liberty dunk down on the entire Sixers team's head?
Well, I was in the arena,
Uh-huh.
sitting next to, friend of the program, S,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, he threw it down, and I was just like, "Whoa!" You know, hold me back. It's craziness
Mm-hmm.
going on. Yeah, just a ridiculous play, and we were kind of, watching out for something like that because
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Martin had a play before where he was ready to throw it down and got
Oh my
fouled.
God, was he ever?
So it was simmering. A play like that was simmering, and then Scotty went and did it, and that was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, yeah. The sound I made, I'll tell you what, it startled my baby son who was sitting on the floor playing around with his toys and inspired him to look up at the television as I went, "Hoo!" Yeah, it's yeah, pretty impressive stuff, man. That was again, we can go relitigate the grand history of Scottie Barnes dunks, but to me, I think that stands out. Recency bias understood, as maybe the best dunk of his entire career. There's the one coast to coast on Jalen Suggs in his rookie year that was pretty sweet. But this one feels both like circumstance, the amount they needed a dunk like that, all that stuff right up there near the top for Scottie B. We'll come back on the other side, talk about the one starter, the one guy who closed this game, who we haven't really talked about very much. And it's because it was a little less inspired than some of the other performances we saw from the guys on the floor in crunch time. Immanuel Quickley. Bit of a rough weekend for him, although there were some ups and some positives, yet a lot of downs to kind of drag it down. We will talk about that and examine the ongoing struggles of Immanuel Quickley in the lead guard spot coming up in just 1 second. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. And look, the NFL season is rolling along, as is the NBA season, which means there's tons of fun stuff for you to go and play around with on FanDuel these days. And Fridays right now feel even different during the basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Open the FanDuel app during Happy Hour, and it brings something new always. Boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly schedule before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect. Right before games, right before the weekend starts. Maybe you're sitting down after a long, hard week at work with a brew dog and you want to go through and make some bets. You can go and do that as you get ready for your Friday night slate of action. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sports book partner of the NBA. Back at it here with Big V. Just a reminder, there's a little cool thing we're offering now at Locked On. It's the Everydayer Club. If you are a daily listener of this podcast, you like me, you want to support me, and get some fun perks as well, you can sign up at the link in the description of the podcast for the Locked On Raptors Everydayer Club. $5 a month, $50 for the year gets you ad-free episodes of the show every single day, plus access to a Locked On Discord with Locked On listeners from across the globe. It's very fun. Lots going on in there. Way better than the hell website that sucks that you all spend time watching sports on. Come hang out in the Locked On Discord. It's great. And also lots of other fun perks there, bonus content, things like that. So link in the description, signing up for the Locked On Raptors Everydayer Club, please. All right, Big V. Immanuel Quickley, a guy who on this podcast I have a bit of a character built around. I am a Quickley believer. I was dancing and calling 5 all week after the game winner on Wednesday against the Hornets. You go into Friday against the Celtics. I thought he actually played a pretty sound game playmaking wise overall. The efficiency maybe not there where you want it, but 13 assists, and I think a lot of those were actual like real advantage creative assists, that is, with paint touches driving a lot of them. I thought it was a pretty solid game. Then you come into this game against the Sixers, and yes, there were moments. He hits that shot to make it 107-105. They don't win this game without him hitting that shot. Foot on the line was annoying, but still got the job done. You have a really nice assist to Collin Murray-Boyles in traffic on a nice drive in overtime for the second of consecutive Collin Murray-Boyles dunks. But beyond that, some pretty baffling decision-making down the stretch from Immanuel Quickley, mostly with regards to shot selection. And it continues just a run here of him just kind of leaving you wanting more from the role that he is occupying right now. And look, they're still winning his minutes when he's on the floor. I think he still is additive just with his theoretical shooting gravity, even if three-point shooting has fallen off quite a bit this season from its usual level. I would guess there's a positive regression to the mean coming at some point here. But Big V, how concerned are you about the level of struggle that Immanuel Quickley has displayed with his current role? It's pretty clear he's miscast. It's pretty clear that at some point they'll have to upgrade on this spot if they want to take this team to the next level. It's pretty clear also that his contract is maybe not super valuable around the league at the moment based on some of the scuttlebutt from the insider types over the weekend. But where are you at with the Immanuel Quickley of it all right now, sitting here January the 12th, 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the, for sure he's miscast and this and that. Like, I think he's obviously not as capable as you'd like from a starting point guard in that
Sure.
playmaking role. But he's 26 years old, and he's generally had kind of that off-ball scoring role in the NBA. And so I think this is clearly a lot of adjustment for him.
Definitely.
And yeah, the main weakness that he has in his game right now is just seeing things early and seeing things at the right time, and understanding kind of that general flow of the game and when to take certain shots and when not to take certain shots. And, I think when the Raptors have the momentum and it's a tie game and you've got a huge opportunity to take the lead, on a 3-and-1, and you take a pull-up three, a pretty deep pull-up three, I might add, you've got to know that that's not the right shot. And then even later, there was another where he gets the ball and Scottie is like racing down the court and pleading for the ball. And all IQ has to do is throw it ahead. And instead, he takes his time. Philly is able to set. They're able to get a double on Scottie. Now you've got this tough entry feed where he ends up, it ends up being a tough catch and a turnover. And so stuff like that where, he's just not making the early read. He's just not making the right decision. I think that's going to come down to a lot of film, a lot of reps, and just like getting through it, working through it. I'm not going to like close the door on that. Like, this is something that can't be developed.
Sure.
What I think one of the most underrated development stories in this franchise's history is Serge Ibaka. And I remember, and that's a player who at the stage of career that he had arrived in Toronto, you would think is, he just
Finished
is what
product.
he is.
Yeah.
And for him to, get opportunities on the short roll where they're saying, hey, we want you to hit the guy in the weak side corner and make those passes out of post ups and this and that. And there was a long stretch where he was not able to do it, and it was turnovers and all sorts of difficulty. And then all of a sudden it started happening because he was getting reps and he was understanding what he needed to do. And then all of a sudden he was able to do it. So, if Serge Ibaka can show that type of development at that age in an area of his game where you would probably least expect it, I don't see why Quickley can't improve in this area.
Yeah, like I do think we get way too quick to conclude that players are finished products at age 25, right? And yeah, he's 26. He's in essentially his first full season of actually having the reins of a team, particularly his first full season of having the reins of a team that's like trying to win basketball games. And I think if his threes were falling at his usual 38, 39% clip, everyone would feel a lot better about the deficiencies playmaking wise. But because of the threes not being there right now, everything else is kind of coming into focus. Like, he's not this bad, right? He's not this lost as an NBA player. And to go and declare that, oh, it's done, he can never do it, it is, I think, premature. We've seen guys in the past, the playmaking stuff, like, it takes time, it takes reps, it takes flow and rhythm, and it just takes like the experience of having the defense thrown at you 1,000 times to kind of figure out how to pull things apart. Now, are there some physical limitations with Quickley as far as strength, as far as turning the corner? Absolutely there are. And I think there's always going to be a cap on what he is as a lead guard. But just because he's an imperfect player doesn't mean he should not be like playing heavy minutes for this basketball team, because his skill set is still desperately needed. And look, again, you might be of the mind that they have to upgrade on him at some point down the line. I think it's pretty clear. If we're learning things this year about this team, the area where they could most use an upgrade is at lead guard going forward. But because they don't have that guy yet does not disqualify this current edition of the team from being able to do good things, from Quickley being able to refine his craft and become a better player either. It's just he's in a bit of a lull right now, and he's been in a bit of a down spell, and things will surely get easier when Jakob Poeltl eventually comes back. When will that be? We don't know. It seems like there's maybe been a bit of a setback with his back recovery, or just like again, it's all ambiguous with back stuff, and we have no idea when Poeltl's back. But he's obviously a big part of Quickley being unlocked as a pick and roll partner, as a screener, all that stuff. And so I think it makes sense that Quickley's biggest stretch of struggle has come while Poeltl's been fully out of the lineup. There are also moments where we're seeing the pick and roll chemistry with Collin Murray-Boyles come along a little bit. There was some of that in the Boston game on Friday, a little bit more of that last night. And so, again, incremental steps forward, they're all there. And I think there will be a positive wave of shooting here where he hits 60% of his threes for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden everyone's feeling okay about things. But certainly it's, an ongoing area where they need to sort of figure some things out, where Quickley needs to figure some things out. And just kind of like, it feels to me like he's feeling the weight of his shot not being there right now. And so the decision-making seems almost driven by that, of like, I got to make something happen. I got to bust out of this thing. That's where that three in semi-transition kind of felt like it came from a little bit. Like, okay, here's my time to bust out of this thing, when he should have just passed it to Scottie Barnes going down the lane, or reset the possession or whatever. That's where that late game baseline pull-up, which was just a bad shot, they ended up getting bailed out because of the out-of-bounds call going their way. But like, that's where that comes from, of just like, I got to force something to happen here. And when you're forcing stuff to happen, you're thinking about things like, it's not going to go well for you. So think less, IQ, is kind of what I'm saying, I guess, right now. It's let me tell you what, though. We'll get into a guy who I think some fans out there want the Raptors to target as a potential quote-unquote upgrade to IQ. That guy's not going to fix the problems that you see with IQ right now. I promise you that. We will talk about that and more as we come up on the good, the bad, and the to close out the show in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. And look, Game Time, I am a loyal customer. I have used it a ton to go to all kinds of events, sports, comedy, theater. It's all been in my history on Game Time as far as events I've gone to during basketball season. It's unlike being in the building, the energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everyone on their feet, that big, loud Scottie Barnes dunk in the fourth quarter. You want to be there to see that stuff. Maybe you want to be there tonight as the Raptors take on the Sixers once again. You can do it with Game Time, and Game Time is the app that gives fans the advantage back. It makes it incredibly easy to get tickets for the things you want to go to, be it sports, comedy, concerts, whatever it is. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. You find tickets. It takes just a few taps for you, and you can see your view from your seat before buying, which is a big deal. Maybe you're going to the World Cup this summer and you've never been to the venue that you're intending to go watch your World Cup game at. You want to know what you're going to see? Game Time gives that for you. There's no surprises when you go to a new venue with Game Time and the seat views. You get features like zone deals as well. They help unlock great seats at even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets on Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. Back at it here with Big V, wrapping things up with the good, the bad, and the It's the way we wrap up every single episode of this here podcast on the heels of a Toronto Raptors basketball game, a thing we liked, a thing we didn't like, and I think that's got us a little bit intrigued from the latest in Toronto Raptors hoops. I'll start with my good, and it's challenge luck, Big V. Sometimes you got to be lucky to be good. And look, the Raptors won 2 challenges very late in this game. Out of bounds calls, they were both the correct calls. No luck necessarily in those, just good challenges at the right time, and they get possession. They don't win the game without those 2-1 challenges, in particular the Alijah Martin one late. Huge deal. They were very lucky. Maybe you didn't catch this if you were in the building, but on TV earlier, I think in the fourth quarter, VJ Edgecombe goes to the free throw line on a call the team disagreed with. Upon replay, very obviously a foul by the Raptors on VJ Edgecombe. And Darko Rajakovic tried to challenge the call, but VJ had already received the ball for the free throw, so the play was live essentially, and it was too late to call the challenge, so it didn't go through. Had that challenge gone through and the Raptors clearly would have lost it, they do not win this basketball game. So good luck. Happy to have good luck there. Happy to be slow on the trigger, I guess, on that challenge for the Raptors. It all worked out in the end. You got to be lucky to be good. What you got for your good, Big V?
I've got Alijah Martin. I think
man.
The way he's seized this opportunity, the way he competed in Boston. He mentioned after this game, this win against Philly, that he felt quicker out there, just watching film, picking up on player tendencies and being more prepared, that he felt more ready in this one. And I love the spirit with which he plays. Obviously, the athleticism is there for everyone to see, but just the general spirit and toughness that he plays with, like he doesn't back down from anyone. We saw a lot of jawing with Tyrese Maxey. He had a wave to Tyrese Maxey that almost came back to bite him pretty bad, but thankfully the Raptors were able to come out with the win. But yeah, I just love his general demeanor. He's not thinking of it as like, oh, I've just come into the league and I'm gonna like back down or show too much respect to a player. He's respecting the game by playing his ass off, and you get rewarded when you do that.
Yeah, this whole draft second round guards who are kind of dogs from very successful college programs. Maybe that's just a thing the Raptors have figured out here. I would be okay if they just did this every single year. Take a short king who's mean from a team that was really successful in college the year prior, and how can you possibly lose? Alijah Martin, yeah. He's going to have to get more efficient for sure. He's going to have to knock down a cursory number of threes. He's going to have to go better than 3 of 8 from 2 and stuff like that. But 4 steals and 2 blocks in 30 minutes. Did a really good job for the most part on Tyrese Maxey, which is a hard thing to do. Maxey still got his because that's what Maxey does. But yeah, really encouraging stuff from Alijah Martin. And one of these days, he's going to connect on one of those super audacious dunks that seems like it's right out of a dunk contest, and the whole roof is going to come down.
He got Derek White pretty good, man.
He did get Derek White pretty good. That just the one that almost was on Grimes felt like another level of nuclear. Just like, oh no, they've upgraded the weapons. Things are far more horrifying now. The bad. My bad. It's a quick one. I don't talk about refs on this show except when they make the game less fun to watch. And boy, oh boy, did the officials do everything in their power to nuke the entertainment value of the game last night. Credit to the teams for being incredibly competitive and bought in and kind of overcoming the endless array of stoppages in all different forms throughout this one. But just like let the dudes play, or if you're not going to let them play, like make it consistent. I don't know. Just very, very irritating game as far as the whistle goes. 29 fouls for the Sixers, 28 fouls for the Raptors, and yet it also felt at times like they were letting them play through all kinds of contact. Very inconsistent, very annoying. Not surprised. There were many texts and angry coaches about, and Scottie Barnes got a tech and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, just like the refs lost control of this one a little bit, and it was much less fun of a game than it even could have been, despite being an incredibly fun game, because it was a bit of a ref show. What you got for your bad?
For my bad, I have. The funny part is I've kind of forgotten now that I've put it up here. So I'm just going to go back to my notes where I texted it to you. And now we know that the bad that I have is the injury bug kind of getting to the Raptors. Yeah. And you look at these games that have happened of late, no Scottie and BI in Boston. And then you lose RJ. I mean, I was pretty scared for RJ when he screamed at first. That sounded extremely loud, and I was like, "Oh no, we don't need to go through this again." We've seen the offense without RJ, and then the way this Philly game started out, I was like, "Here we go again." So yeah, and then you see Jakob Poeltl go out, and Darko giving what was a very, very kind of murky update on Yak. To be as like non-committal as he's been about anything regarding Yak so far was discouraging. I mean, let's face it. What is it? 2-3 weeks ago where he came out and he was like, hey, I expect in 2 weeks that this is going to be gone and we are never going to talk about it again.
Yeah, let's like stop making declarative statements, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here we are now with no degree of certainty on Yak at all. And so it's just starting to bite the Raptors. Thankfully, this resilience that we've talked about is getting through, is helping them get through these games. And we're seeing Alijah Martin emerge. And just again, like you can't say enough about CMB emerging in this starting center role. Because if not for that, this team would be in a heap of trouble. And I think that's been a huge factor in the success the Raptors have had of late without Yak.
Yeah, just got to weather it, man. Like every team goes through it. And if you can weather it sort of capably and without losing every single game while you're weathering it, you're in pretty good shape for the rest of the season when you hopefully get guys back. But yeah, hopefully this is as bad as it gets injury wise for the team and they can burst through it and be better for it. On the side of things for me, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. We'll probably talk about it more at length on a non-game recap show at some point. But over the weekend, plenty of noise from Mark Stein, Jake Fisher, those who have been right about Raptors stuff in the past, tying the Toronto Raptors to Ja Morant, who the Grizzlies are apparently fielding offers on. Those offers do not seem to be extremely strong at the moment because Ja Morant is bad now and doesn't play and has gotten worse year over year for the last few seasons and seems like a bit of a malcontent. If you're looking to upgrade on the point guard spot for the Toronto Raptors, I can promise you the Ja Morant thing is not the way to do it. It's also not even really the way to clean up the books, which I know is the concern of most of the armchair GMs out there. Got to have clean books, got to clean up the books. Ja Morant makes more money than Immanuel Quickley for exactly one fewer year than Immanuel Quickley is under contract and is clearly in decline. Also, a terrible shooter who's forgotten to finish at the rim and all of this stuff that would just be a very nasty, clunky fit on a Raptors team that is very much dependent upon fit being good. Hard no, please stay away. I think this would be a very, very bad idea, and we can examine it more in depth later on in the week. But just like there's a reason all these distressed stars are distressed stars who aren't valued around the league. You shouldn't be lining up to go and get those guys. It's like going to the store and they have sale on expired meat, and you're like, I got to get that because it's so cheap. No, you don't want the expired meat. It's bad for you. Big V. What's your bad? Or sorry, your that is.
My is whether Kyle Lowry might actually become an assistant coach one day. And the reason I asked this question is because when Kyle Lowry spoke to media, Michael Grange pointed out how, hey, Kyle, there was a time when you said you're not going to be down for this whole, you don't want a Haslam role of just like sitting at the end of the bench and mentoring the young guys. And yet here you are doing it and seemingly enjoying it. And then Kyle was like, right. But he's like, hey, at the end of the day, he like giving back to the game is something that's become really important to him. And he's kind of really enjoyed this role. And he wasn't even entirely committal about this being his final season, which might even speak more to how much he's enjoying this role. And it was a bit weird for, the most competitive guy we've ever seen in a Raptors uniform, almost, fear the thought of like, hey, Nick said he might put you out there. And he was just like, so yeah, I think, Kyle's been asked in the past about, hey, would you want to be a coach in any capacity? And he's flat out rejected that, saying, no, when I'm done, I'm done. You're not going to see me this and that. Yeah. And I feel like, that might be pivoting a little bit. And who knows, maybe one day he wouldn't mind being an assistant coach for the Toronto Raptors.
Kyle Lowry, the LeBron James of Garrett Temples. We love it. And hopefully I think you're rooting for a blowout one way or another tonight, I think. A, for some stress relief after a very stressful basketball game last night, but B, to hopefully see Kyle get on the floor one more time in Toronto, assuming this is his last season, which again, maybe it's not, but really hopeful that we get at least like 2 minutes of ceremonial Kyle so the place can go nuts and cheer him on at some point tonight. That would be very, very cool. We will talk about that game on tomorrow's podcast. We're going to wrap it up here. Big V, anything you want to promote for the good people out there?
Usual stuff. Raptors in 7, sportscasting. You can follow it all at Vivek Jacob. And
Hell
thanks for
yeah.
listening.
Do it. You can find this show wherever you get your podcast. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend. We're on YouTube as well. Subscribe over there. It's very nice when you go and do that. I'm posting some videos and stuff there. I have my thoughts from my basketball watching chair video that goes out after most games, or sometimes I'm on the Go train. You have those, very fun live reaction videos. Of course, we're trying to chop up as many clips as possible to share around too. So go and follow us on all the socials. And of course, you can just sign up for the Everydayer Club as well. Link in the description of the podcast. It is $5 a month, $50 for the year. You get ad-free episodes of the show, and it helps me big time. It's a really nice way to support the show. If you've enjoyed getting the show for free all these years and you want to get ad-free now, you can go and do it. And it would really tickle me to the very core of my innards if you went and did that. I don't know. It's been a long weekend. We're going to leave it there. We'll talk to you again on Tuesday with another episode of Locked On Raptors. Thanks for hanging. Bye-bye. Oh, almost banked it.